90s rivalry, the Knicks and the Pacers. And he gets walloped by Jackson.
You're seeing the same people over and over. This is when it really starts to get nasty.
Brunson, wow, what a fake and what a finish.
He cannot guard Jalen Brunson.
DiVincenzo, an amazing follow. And now they go at it, Turner and DiVincenzo.
We're trying to be tough guys. That's not their identity. Nobody's gonna fight NBA. Take the foul, keep it moving.
Oh, Brunson, are you kidding? And the Knicks are gonna be a win away from a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals.
And so it was a dramatic and physical night last night at the Garden, but it was another blowout in a series that began with 3 very tight games. So the Knicks a 3-2 series lead against Indiana. At ESPN Bet right now, the Knicks are plus 170 to win Game 6, plus 150 to close it out at home in Game 7. The Pacers are plus 210 to come back from 3 games to 2 down. And their coach, Rick Carlisle, afterwards was disappointed.
Very poor effort, obviously. Lost every quarter. Got annihilated on loose balls and rebounds. Gave up 20 offensive rebounds and 29 more shots. So we all own it, but very embarrassing. Very embarrassing and a hard lesson.
Again, Wendy, what was the lesson that a young Pacers team learned last night?
He noted that there wasn't a player on his roster who's ever been in a game like this, 2-2, Game 5, much less on the road. And he didn't think his team was prepared for the intensity. The rebounding he mentioned is hard to explain, 53-29. Going on the road in any game, 53-29 is unsurvivable. He thought their technique was terrible. He thought their energy did not match the Knicks, especially when their energy was the difference maker in Game 4. And obviously, this was a 6th seed for a reason. They are still a developing team. They are still a learning team, and we saw some of that last night.
So it's an interesting, if we sort of take stock of where we are in the series right now, it's an interesting little juncture. Because, Wendy, we made the point yesterday. The schedule on Friday night favors the Knicks. On Sunday, I think we all think, despite the fact that Game 7, if there is one, would be at the Garden, that scheduling favors the deeper team, the Pacers, because there is that quick turnaround again, Friday night to Sunday afternoon, and this time with travel in the middle of it. That would seem to favor them. So if I were to make the statement, the Knicks have to win Game 6 to get out of this series, what would you think of that?
No, I think they just have to win one game, to me, because the thing that has been mystifying and confusing and a mystery to me is the inconsistency of the Pacers, and in particular, Tyrese Haliburton. He's their all-star. I mean, halfway through the season, we were celebrating what he was doing for the league, leading the league in assists, and he's had big games, but it's almost like it oscillates, and you need that consistency to really believe that when they go home, he can win. 5 for 9, 9 field goal attempts. When you have your star players out there, they have to shoot. You have to be vulnerable to take the shots in order to make them, in order to be great. We've seen him make key plays even when he has low field goal attempts. Talk about that game winner at the end of the game, right? Just downhill. But overall, I think you got to have your point guard set the tone. And if your team is not fully connecting on offense, then you want to sort of expect him to at least try to take over. And we haven't seen that consistency. But the thing is when he has a down game, he has a next up game. So I think it's going to be harder for the Knicks to contend with because he learns well from losses.
You know what I think is interesting as I'm watching those plays for Haliburton? Who is fresh for the Knicks? Deuce McBride.
Yeah.
Who's chasing Tyrese Haliburton around in all of those plays? It's Deuce McBride. So even if it goes to a Game 7, which I actually think the Knicks can close out in 6 on the road, they did that with the Sixers. I said they weren't going to do it. What did they do? They closed out that game. I had Knicks fans tweeting me, where's Game 7? Where's Game 7? I'm like, I know, it didn't happen. I actually think the Knicks can close out in 6, but Deuce McBride and his energy, offensively and defensively, if it goes to a Game 7, he'll be ready.
It was so noticeable how much faster the Knicks were with Deuce McBride out there.
Yeah.
He's like subbing in a guy with a full energy bar. You know, it just made a huge difference. And in general, the Knicks gave up that height for the quickness and the floor spreading. And I do think that that's a potential difference-making moment in this series. We'll see what Rick Carlisle comes back with.
Here's what I'll say.
Fortnite reference.
We were having, yeah, it's a video game
I'm
reference.
going to leave it alone. It's fine.
But we were having a conversation about sports psychology in the makeup room this morning. The reason that it is applicable to this is if I'm Rick Carlisle and I'm the Pacers, I'm telling myself, we've played 5 games in this series. We've only played 1 bad one. They had an opportunity to win both games. They got bad call at the end of game 1. They were right there in game 2. They win game 3 in a close game, and they blow them out in game 4. They've had 1 bad game, and the world is now writing them off. And I get it. We have these huge emotional and psychological twists and turns in a playoff series. It's the beauty of the NBA playoffs. But I think to assume that this series is done, wrapped up,
no.
collision, everyone in this town.
A road team hasn't won yet.
That's the point.
Yep.
And so the Knicks are going to have to do it. If the Knicks don't win, I'll just say this. If the Knicks don't win game 6 Friday night, which right now if I had to bet on it, I would bet that they would. But if they don't, that quick turnaround, if that's a close, hard-fought game, and these guys are all playing 46 minutes, and they lose on another Nembhard 30-footer with 20 seconds left or whatever it is, and they're going back to the Garden 36 hours later to play a Game 7, that's a scary scenario.
But Greeny,
Go ahead.
okay, so Dre and I, we're not from here. We're out of town. You know, I'm LA-based, my girl's East Coast
Atlanta,
based.
yep.
Okay, Atlanta-based. We were walking around the city, and everyone was gloomy, like the weather.
Right.
Summer's here. It's right around the corner. The Knicks show people that they got, you know, they're able to get back. And so I feel like even though if they don't win game 6, we just saw what they're able to do at home. And they have one of the best advantages that works to their benefit when it comes to
I'm with that. I'm saying the other side. If the Pacers should not go home feeling like, oh my God, we're dead. Now we're playing bad. Now we're being. They had 1 very bad game out of the 5.
And they had 1 really good game out.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,